How do? We're live. I think we're live. I want to start speaking.
Yeah, we're live.
Hey up, every lad. Hey up, Kida. How's it going? Hey up, Jenny. Hey up, Chuckles. Hey up, Bardy. Hey up, May Bonnix. And I'm assuming you're about to listen as a gifted sub. And Chuckles. Thank you very much. As I already said, Chuckles. Anyway, I'm just eating food really fast, so I do apologise. Send help. Or pudding. One or the other. Right,
this is why you usually run the bit beforehand, but that's okay.
Don't. Alright.
Don't quiz him off. Otherwise I really will be dead.
It's only you that has trouble to deal with right now. It's fine.
So, welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. I've really done this the wrong way. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. We play lots of tabletop, mainly D&D.
Pro streamers.
We got some Pathfinder coming on. Thank you for the host clockwork. I know that guy. And yeah, so we play lots of D&D. Tuesday is our elite group of D&D.
Elite group.
I'm comparing,
Far too generous.
I'm comparing you to the rest of the channel.
I mean, we've gone from last week being a lovely bunch of coconuts to elite group.
You're still coconuts.
You gotta wonder what the other lot are up to.
We're elite coconuts.
Elite coconuts.
The most elite.
So this is our campaign, Fables Among Titans. This is the 55th session. So welcome. If you want to go see the rest, go check them out on YouTube. There's loads of it. There's ridiculously amounts of hours of story stuff on the YouTube channel, which I just use to store everything because it disappears after 60 days on Twitch. So, what do we normally do? First, social medias. We're everywhere. Want to catch up on past streams at your leisure? Follow the link for HWG back catalogue. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Monkey Face, and then follow that link to YouTube. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch.
Discord.
We're on Discord, there's a Discord. I've been trying to organise it. I'm not the best at organising stuff, that's why I'm the Dungeon Master. Yeah, so if you want to come and join us in the Discord and see what we're getting up to, hopefully it'll start looking better and better as we go along and be used more, and I can keep on top of the admin of the empire that is HWG. But yeah, so go check that out. Want to join and see? Join the fun. Brilliant.
Stop reading them out verbatim, jeez.
Why? They're written better than what I'm going to say.
I love it when he reads out monkey face though. It's monkey face. It's my favourite part. Monkey face.
So yeah, so you can find us on social media. We have sponsors of the channel, really, but you get to see them mostly on our Tuesday show. You have Loki Bottom Mats, which if you don't know who they are, just Google them. They're incredible map makers. They've won awards. Every Kickstarter they throw out instantly funds. They're super good at what they do, and it's super cool that they sponsor the channel. So go check out Loki Bottom Mats. All these links, our mods are going to spam chat now. It's going to be great. Or mod, should I say. My one and only. And Dave when he's about. So yeah, so go check out Loki Bottom Mats. They're great for if you're around the table. If you're lucky enough to be around the table, I hate you and I'm jealous. But yeah, we use all their maps that they create. They do them digitally, so you can go find them on. Well, if you just go to Loki Bottom Mats and you'll find all their digital maps. Use them on Roll20, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, and other virtual tabletops. Yeah. And they've just done a sci-fi one at the minute. They're just doing a big Kickstarter for the sci-fi one they're running. So go on Kickstarter, look at Loki Bottom Mats, and you'll see their sci-fi Kickstarter for maps. Oh, hundreds and hundreds of. Just go check them out. They're amazing. Coyote Grey. I love this, man. Coyote Grey. I discovered by buying some chibi tokens to use on Roll20. So if you go to Roll20, go to the marketplace, look for Coyote Grey, or follow the link. Boom! Look at that timing. You get to see his chibi packs that he puts out. They're like $4.99, so I think it's like £3.50, maybe £4. They're really, really cool. You get maybe 100 tokens in each pack. I'm a super big fan of chibi art. I fell in love with them straight away, and now they sponsor the show, which is great. And they're also currently working on a project for us, which we will reveal as more things happen. But yes, we started the ball rolling on that last night, so I'm super keen to see what they generate for us, and then we'll throw it in your faces. We've got Syrinscape, who are not a sponsor. That is important to understand. They're not a sponsor. However, they are super cool at encouraging people and allowing people to throw, Syrinscape at as many people as they can, because they want lots of people to have great sound in their games, which, it sounds cheesy, but it's legit, and I like it. whether you're using like just a tablet or a Bluetooth speaker around your table and you're trying to create that, you know, busy town or scary cave or high priest ritual going on in a cathedral, they've got it all. Super, super cool. And they also, if you play like us online across the entire country, sometimes the world, depending on what you're doing, you can download their download player app. Go to Syrinscape, download their app, and your GM can invite you to their game, and then whatever sound they play goes through the app to your very ears, and then you can turn it up as loud as you want or as quiet as you want, and it only affects you. Some people like it loud, others not so much. We've got Shana, who's currently not streaming at the minute, but you can go find her on Instagram. She's a glass crafter. Super chill when she does stream. It's so relaxing. It's proper zen. Like if you're into your meditative stuff, just having her on in the background, listening to her talk about her craft and her hobby and interact with her chat. She's really cool. Loads of time for her, and she's moving around at the minute, so she's not streaming. But when she settles and starts streaming again, we'll be raiding her lots, and you'll get to see her do her thing. Arcane Script is my beloved friend Rob, Arcane himself. It's generally what we write a lot of our sourcebooks under. On sourcebooks, we released Tasha's heavier crockpot of bits and bobs that if you go check out, 200 copies. That's right, kids, without a mod prompt. Go check out Oshana, her glassworking skills. Let her know we sent you, monkey face. Just for Luke. So go check out that. Tasha's heavy crockpot of bits and bobs. 80 plus pages, 81 pages. Plus 80 spells within those pages, all homebrew, loads of artwork thrown in there by our nerdy friends, loads of cool homebrew stuff by our nerdy friends. It's super, super cool. Like I say, 200 copies for what, less than $10. Go buy it. Just go buy it. Just do it. And we've got more stuff coming out. We've got Arcane and Eldritch are currently writing Trader's Compendium, which is all the toolkits and stuff that you get in D&D. They've written like proper uses for them, benefits to using them, actual things you can do with them beyond adding your proficiency to a roll. So when that gets released and they're finished cleaning it up and getting it ready to go, we will be shouting out about it everywhere. So keep an eye out for that. And then next year's written project is a full source book of Atoria, one of the nations in Colossus, which we've been smashing out for many, many months now in between our other little projects and stuff. And I am super excited to get that thrown out to everyone. So that'd be cool. Follow social media so you can get all those announcements. Ruffworx Creative. This fine gentleman is carved from Siberian ice. But whatever, his granddad's from Siberia. However, if you go check out Ruffworx Creative on Facebook, he never uses it because he's rubbish at it, because he thinks he should live in the woods. And not
He did. He uploaded something the other day,
oh
actually. Yes.
Someone has hacked his account. We need to tell Facebook. He's an incredibly gifted crafter, creator with woods, different leathers. Whatever he's doing, everything's a one-off piece, unless you obviously order them. But he throws his blood, sweat and tears into it, and then he moves on to the next project. Super, super cool at what he does. I've known him for a very, very long time, and it made me happy, never mind him, to just see him get a bit more notoriety for his skills. And he's quite nice to look at, if I do say so myself. I said our sponsors, 200 bits. If you've got money, if you've got 200 bits and you fancy throwing them at this lot, please do, because they need. I'm reading this one for verbatim. Do you feel sorry for this lovely bunch of coconuts? Donate 200 bits /cheers to give the party a reroll, monkey face. They can't be used on the DM. They can't be used on death saving throws. They can only hold 5 per at any one time, and they don't roll over to the next week. So if you lovely people give them 5 rerolls, they've got 5. If they drop down to 3, you can put back up to 5, so on and so forth. I love the intros to these things. What were they?
Thank you, Uli.
Thank you, Uli. Just that.
Thank you.
What you can't do, which we had on Thursday, is if you are playing in one of my games, you cannot buy yourself 2 rerolls to convince the party that you're a surprise attendee to the game. So, Niall, if you're watching... Literally...
I mean, I'll throw mine at other games, but yeah.
They didn't know he was rejoining the party, so to throw them off the scent, he bought rerolls in chat. Then I introduced him into the game, and he was like, da-da, and then they used the rerolls. I was like, what?
Sneaky, sneaky.
Oh, done live in front of thousands of people. 7. So, Right. Is that it? Are we good? Is that everything done? Right.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Recap.
Oh no.
You left the realm of echoes after a great battle with reflections of yourselves. It was very emotional and deep. You went to the Temple of the Woodcutter, one of the many temples that are in the city of Ravens, the capital of Ravenholm, and you resurrected Xandria Summerbreeze, dear friend, loved one, sibling of the party, and it was wonderful. Xandria returned, smiley, glad to see you all, arms open.
That's when we knew she was possessed.
Oh shit!
Get me an
Sandra.
exorcist. You made your way to Lord Romeric's, a ally you've had from very early on. If I haven't mentioned, we're on session 55. Oh yes, that you met very early on. One of the Rabe of Ravenholm. So a Rabe is a person that sits upon the sovereign Rabe council that rules Ravenholm. Excuse me. Been quite happy to see you in some way, shape, or form. They gave you rooms for the night and stuff. You know, please rest for a while. You've not stopped for over a year. And gave you a bit of information on what was going on. Probably the most potent, well, depending on where you look at it. There is an army of fiends that have breached the Ivory Wall and are now sat inside the lands of Ravenholm, or the borders of Ravenholm, and are currently in a bit of a stalemate with the House of Eagles, but there is a feeling that the fiends are deliberately in a stalemate rather than it's because both forces are equal. So that is being discussed currently by the Sovereign Rabe. You've also been told that Ulrich, who essentially started a civil war and has pretty much wiped out the Autumn Forest, the Copper Forest, the realm of the Autumn Fae, apart from the cabin in the woods with the lovely glade, has surrendered themselves over to meet the justice of Ravenholm and its people, sending their armour and super magical hammer ahead of themselves. They have disbanded their forces, and by disbanded I mean they've returned to their provinces. They've declared there is no more civil war, claimed all responsibility, etc., etc. And the Sovereign Rabe is very much confused about this. Ulrich had been seen speaking to the new Jesuit of what is essentially a house in the woods now, but Toodles, they'd held a conversation of what nobody knows, and then Ulrich started to ride by himself towards the city of Ravens. It was pretty late. You'd all had a bit of an energetic, adrenaline rushing kind of few weeks, and you are now in the Sovereign District of Ravenholm. You are, which I will need to bring up my city information for when you lot go running around like lunatics. And you all were going to bed. You all took your own rooms. Ari, you stayed out and you saw the great stories that were painted on the ceilings and the walls of your history of Ravenholm and its many dramatisations of things told around campfires and such. Xandria, you dreamt and slept wonderfully. And Ari, you were stood out in the living room area, sitting area, where there are several of these guest room doors that branch off. Let's put some music on. Hello, chat. If you can't hear this, let me know. Oh, it's very quiet. There we go. It's very quiet. Holy smokes, let's turn that down.
It was very quiet.
Jesus.
It's not anymore.
Hopefully you can hear that in chat. There's more ambience than someone playing a violin in the corner, Harry, just so you know.
What you were doing here?
Yes. I'm just barding, dear, just barding.
Oh, teach me a few things.
That's quite loud on my end. I'm going to turn that down. As you're checking out the stories, and you feel like there's a epic moment being played in your mind. One of the doors across the way opens. Click. There you go. And when you turn, you see Elva in a night tunic, the current second eagle of the Ivory Wall and the House of Eagles. Not looking as, I say, bedraggled and eye-tired, as it were, the last time you've seen her. But more relaxed, more... I say relaxed. She's... Well, you're not in a battle with fiends. And the last thing we left the session with is her simply saying, Harry, I do. 3, 2, 1. You're in coconuts.
Coconut.
Singular.
Singular coconut.
Sadly. He'll kind of turn. What are you doing here? But you're on the wall.
In case you haven't heard, the wall is... As he straightens herself, the wall is no more, Harry. The fight that we were in was its last fight. I'm here at the order of the Eagle to pass information to the Sovereign Rabbi. So to put urgency behind the information I bring them. I see you are with your old friends, or your friends.
Yeah, makes sense. Romerick didn't seem to know a huge amount about what had gone on the wall, and obviously I didn't know a huge amount myself. Yeah, we're just passing through, I guess.
Are you staying awake a bit longer? It'd be nice to catch up. And she kind of just looks around, flickering oil lamps and such. It's serene. It's not always date night, Harry. It's not always date night, Harry. What you think?
No, he doesn't actually, to be fair. He doesn't. It's just me going, oh my god, this is awkward. I don't like it. He kind of just probably just quirks a brow at that, and it's just like...
It's just been a while since I wasn't swinging a sword or dodging hellfire. And she kind of smirks and then straightens herself. A friendly face would be nice.
Bedtime, boys.
Okay.
That's not shouted from there. Elva's like,
Sir!
bedtime, boys.
That was
Surprisingly
literally.
forward.
I'll tell you what that is. That is Ruby realizing that Cass and Sapphire are
At the top of the stairs.
eavesdropping little.
Nah.
I'm about to have children say goodnight to me.
He's on his own. Doesn't he know it?
What's that? Give us a cuddle, mate. We've got 2 million people wanting to see how this turns out. The trot. I'm going to get this wrong. Te Trollena. I'm sorry, but thank you very much for the subscription. It's very much appreciated. All right, come on. Go. You're ducking.
Where's the 2 million people you said?
2 million people. It's weird numbers, mate. Just go sit down, all right? Can't be careful. Supposed to love you, Dad. It's the one and only Tapesh, baby. Noted. A friendly, right? She just gestures towards people shouting.
No, you're getting put off.
Yes. She just looks around the place and then looks back at her room. A drink.
Probably hesitates slightly too long, and then he's like, okay.
She goes back into her room. Give me a perception check.
What's my perception these days?
You'll have to
God,
tell
I really
me.
wish Careless Whisper was on Syrinscape.
23.
Jesus, welcome at level
Wow.
9, kids. You look just over her shoulder as she's going back into the room. You can see there are several jugs on the tables that are around the room. Whether they're full or empty, you have no idea. The bed is messy, and there are shapes in it, several shapes, not moving. The door kind of just swings a little bit closed, and then she reopens it, closes it behind her, and she has a jug with 2 cups. Well, 2 goblets, because, you know, you're in the guest rooms of ridiculousness, which I shall name it officially. And she just goes
Put them in the ridiculous way, sir.
the ridiculous one.
No, hang on. I can tell you what they look like. They look like that.
But covered in gold.
Covered in gold, yeah. Not wooden, you know.
Yeah.
Sitting down at the table, she pours a very deep purple wine into these 2 goblets and sits on a single chair and pushes your cup to the opposite side. And the violin returns. Someone on a piano now.
Oh well. He will take a seat opposite and raise a glass. And...
She gives you a toast, or a cheers, and she drinks quite deeply of it, but not quite finishing it.
Make sure it's not blood.
Yeah. Give me a wisdom center. She, after the drink, like sitting down, pouring the drink, raising a cheers to yourself, she's still very postured, straight back, soldier-esque in her, in her posture. As soon as she drinks deeply, she then just relaxes back into the thick armchair of the sitting area. How are you?
Could be better, to be honest. But alive.
What happened after the war?
You probably don't want to know, to be perfectly honest.
If you share, I'll share.
We went to a very weird place to try to rescue my brother.
Stefan,
It
okay?
ultimately didn't really work.
You can see her react to it. Is Stefan fallen?
No. He's there, he's just stuck.
Can we unstick him?
It's really hard to explain. There's been a lot. There's been a lot.
If I could, you'd know I'd do anything for your brother.
As would I, but unfortunately can't help him a huge amount right now, apart from trying to kill an echo of him that's in this realm. And yes, that makes sense in my brain.
After the last month, I'm not even going to question it. The wine is nice. They drink well here. Away from it all. She's just kind of looking around. You notice, carrying through your perception of, celestial eyes, you do notice that as Elva's speaking to you every now and then, she'll kind of drift off and stare at the paintings and the decor. You will notice that she focuses on the great ivory dragon imagery, wherever it sits. Only briefly, just that slight pause in her look. So, how did you end up here? The last I saw you was the wall.
Again, you wouldn't believe what we've been through, but essentially one of our party fell and we needed to get to a temple that could help resurrect them, which apparently is a thing. Yeah. So
Who
this
fell?
seemed like the safest place.
Who fell?
Sandria.
And she's well, yes?
She is now.
That's good to hear. She will straighten you out, Aristotle. I suppose it's my turn to share. The wall cracked all along, all the way north. We couldn't hold them out. Be a story to tell. A spirit of a dragon in the sky, air elementals riding chariots of strange creatures. I can only imagine what the bards will write and sing when we are long gone and tell the children of Ravenholm. Assuming there will be a Ravenholm for children to grow up in. And she kind of sits forward, and she's like, elbows are on her knees now, and she's leaning forward, and she's not looking at you anymore, she's kind of staring at the table. They are different, unlike anything any of our ancestors have faced. Before it was just chaos, just fodder thrown at the wall, and we turned them away and slaughtered them in their hundreds, thousands, who knows. Our grandparents could probably pick a number. But now they just sit, organised, great marquees on this side of the wall, in Ravenholm. The province of the Eagles is corrupted by their presence. It is not a nice thing to witness. We fled, we ran, we evacuated far better than I thought we were able to pull off. Practice is one thing, but seeing it happen when you're having to drag, everyone of the wall is willing to fight, but some of them have done their bit and retired or have not seen enough winters to take up blade. But we ran, organised, we took to the forests, fear of the Fae quickly gone as there was nothing to slow us down, prevent us. We gathered forces from the cities on the way, and then we held the forces, we turned, we made a line. We went through our orders, fight in the woods, stay off the paths. Stay off the paths. I can't believe we've ever said that. They didn't chase us. They stayed, they set up camp. Great red and gold marquees with flags with colours of the rainbows splashed across them. Strange symbology. And then we got a messenger, several, asking to speak to the Eagle, to the leader, to anyone in charge of that particular area. These messengers were from the Order of the Pale. Fiends, demons, devils, whatever words we used to use for them before. It was the only time I've ever feared my position. Covered in a white, thick ash paste. Dark eyes. Nothing like the stories of great horns and bat-like wings, just terrifying to stand in front of. That's quite a cheerful song. Just looks across to the invisible bard. Pippin, is that you? The messengers came, we spoke to them. And this is the information I brought to the rabbi, and I feel you should know as well. Oh, forgive me. Your mother is okay.
No. Father?
was in a different party to myself, but I've not heard anything either way, so I will take that as positive. For your father is known, and so would we know. These messengers came speaking on behalf of the Order of the Pale. They are here to claim the debt of the king that has been owed for too long. And that debt is a nation of souls. It is all very confusing. We've asked the Sovereign Rabe and the House of the Falcon, who are closest to Reinhardt's legacy, what this could possibly mean. And hopefully they will have news for me in the next day or two. The lead...
Debt of souls?
That's so they claim. That the king themselves owed. The leader, or the head of this Order of the Pale, is known as Kelthias, wielder of Ravensbane. It felt like they were introducing one of our heroes on the wall, but it is a name we will keep an ear out for. We've not yet seen this Kelthias, or what this Ravensbane is that they wield. But they are here, and they have a force they call the Vibrant. They are a ever-changing existence in this material realm, a chaotic presence with no... They're on a leash, and the Order of the Pale hold that leash. When they let go, there'll be no stopping them. They ripped through the wall, dying for no reason. They had no chance of taking some of the conflicts they chose, and yet they just pushed and pushed and pushed. I said they had no chance, and here I am sat with you in the city of Ravens talking of the loss of the wall. We've called for the forces at the fortress city. At Gieselfurt. They are sending their strongest and saving a few for in case we fail. And we cannot stand in a line across the entirety of that area of the province. It is far too wide, but the fiends do not seem to be making a move to go around us, or they are merely sat on our side of the wall. It feels as though they are staring at us. We need to know what this debt is. We need to know why they think there is such a debt.
It all just keeps coming back to Reinhardt.
Well, we all know the tale of Reinhardt and how he and his forces stood while the wall was created, and that gave us the protection we needed from these fiends.
Yeah.
But beyond the heroic story...
How he trapped beneath the wall.
Trapped?
Trapped. The ivory dragon that you saw. They're real. We met them underneath the wall. They were trapped.
Despite facing an army of demons and devils, Elva is visibly reacting to the fact that you're like, there's a dragon beneath the walls and it's all real. Not just rousing stories.
Nope.
I mean, we did see the dragon shape in the sky. I don't suppose I can deny that. And that takes a massive gulp of whatever's left in the goblet.
They were awe-inspiring, and according to what they said, Reinhardt trapped them there against their will, and Kesvian and I, we set them free. We might have doomed the wall to its fate, but if you'd met them, you would understand how you couldn't keep them trapped. Just couldn't.
Give me a persuasion check.
Adding is a thing. 22.
22. She clenches her teeth and you can see the jaw tighten. There is not a abundance of joy at hearing, oh, we let them out. However, Elva doesn't react she doesn't leap up and start screaming at you. You see the tension in her jaw settle a little bit. And she remains seated and does not throw the goblet at your face.
Bye-bye, good wine.
I suppose I cannot judge because I was not there. Tactically, I can't deny it was foolish, but you are of the heart and not the mind, young Rycroft.
Just kind of gives her a look. There's been a lot. And he'll kind of like visibly close off to her a little bit. I feel like he's been a little bit too open.
Okay.
He'll kind of, his body language will kind of tense up a little bit, and he'll kind of like draw in a little bit to himself and kind of take his wine and kind of sit back a little bit.
She sits back and allows the moment. She also just being in company. You can see that she's enjoying the fact that she's just chilled company. Or I say chilled, it's quite intense what you're talking about, but there's no immediate threat and pressure upon her, and you can see she's reacting well to it. The way you've spoken is comforting, you Lady Jack of all trades. But yeah, you both enjoy. You both need the quiet moment. Sapphire, as you're snuggling down to sleep, you don't care whether them look like. Whether you're on the floor, behind the window, next to the fire, it's entirely up to yourself. You
Hopefully in a nice little
lion,
box, just curled up.
They brought you a box, a massive cat box.
Yeah, that's how you are.
Yeah.
Ready a bit.
You are just nodding off. Yeah, that's right. And there are mirrors everywhere.
Oh God.
You're just nodding off. It's, time to have the best cat nap you've ever had. It's been a while since comfort has been a thing for you lot. Looking around, this is nowhere near what you are used to in the Temple of Ve or living in the snowy tundras of Iconia. But it's warm, and I don't mean temperature-wise, but there is a warm ambience to it. It just feels comfortable, relaxed. Again, it's been a while since yourself or any of the others have just took a breath. You kind of pad around the room. It feels slow. It's as if you were walking the gardens back at the temple, just enjoying the weather. You get that feeling of when you're a sibling and your other sibling is sneaking up on you and you're like, I know they're behind me. They're just going to jump on me. Alright, I'm the eldest. I'll style it out. I'll let them get me. You kind of had that sort of, and you kind of smirk a little bit. And you hear a very soft voice of Soul Taker. And all she says is, brother, I'm on my way. And when you turn, there's nothing there. No spooky aura, no pull on your chi or anything like this. Your key points are settled. Your zen is there. But you definitely heard. Give me an Arcana check.
Oh no.
Monks and barbarians, dead good at them.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear a spooky voice on the window.
Okay, so is this? Have I already rested, or is this prior to resting?
This is about to rest.
Okay, then I will do what I tend to do in these situations, and before I settle down for the night, I will try and settle myself into a state of meditation and reach out towards Soultaker. Just see if I can see or get any idea where or how far away or what kind of state she's in, anything.
So, are you key point meditating?
Yeah.
Cool. You settle yourself, you get comfortable, you lay out the small bits of apparatus you have with you to, you know, complete your meditative ritual. You call upon your key, and you let a small part of it release from you when you're doing combat. And it takes over the air in front of you, and it gives you a what's the word? A settled silence. There's no anxiety in the silence. It is merely a long breath, as it were. You close your eyes and you stand, and you take a few steps towards the door. And you put your massive paw on the door, and as you touch the door, it is warm, as if the wood has been heated. Excuse me. You open your eyes and you say, Soultaker, on the other side of the door.
I will, I guess, try and open the door and walk through, see what I can see.
As you open the door, you can see in the sitting area, because it's obviously circular and all the rooms are around, you can see Alva, the one from the wall, Harry's friend, and Harry. And they're just sat opposite each other, chilled out, relaxing, sorting some b-ball. And they've got a drink, there's a jug on the table, and your eyes immediately, when you open that door, look at Elva, expecting to see your sister, but you don't, you see Elva. And the meditative trance fades away from you.
So the immediate feeling is
If you had your eyes closed, you would think Soultaker was sat where Elva sat. Because you can see, that obviously tells you it's not the case.
So obviously there's an overwhelming feeling of disappointment at first. There's the wonder if maybe she's somehow blocking or something's getting in the way, or wait a minute, isn't that the one that Ari had a bit of a thing with? And then suddenly there's like a grin on Sapphire's face. It's almost like forgotten. He's like peering at it, trying not to be obvious. And he's just like shuffles back into his room, and then it kind of comes back to him. And he's like, oh, closes the door.
As you're closing the door, Elva goes, Sapphire?
Opens it back up again. Like, really awkward, like a kid being caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
I have something for you. Are you okay to... And she gets up. Just please wait here. And she goes into her room.
Sapphire gives Ari like a raised eyebrow and a bit of a grin.
Don't even think it.
I said no words.
Elva returns. She's got a small lock of hair, or fur, that's quite blonde with some auburny tinge to it. Your sister told me to give you this. And she just walks over and she gives you a small lock of your sister's fur. She is breathtaking to behold in battle.
Is there a voice there, or am I going insane?
There was a voice.
Both.
There.
Okay, cool.
Room service.
No, good. Sapphire looks down at it and then looks back up there and goes, "What? Wait, you've seen my sister? When? Where? What was happening?"
The wall. She helped us fight back our retreat and fight. She had passed through before, but she was on her way back. And during our retreat away from the wall, she was on her way back into Ravenholm, deeper, but obviously things were a bit chaotic at the time, and she stayed with us. She fought with me and I with her. She's, as I say, she's very good at what she does. There were fiends that required, full squads of our forces to take down, and she was taking them on her own.
Something very, very strange has happened since I've been away from home.
She's here in the city somewhere. She escorted me here, but she said she had other things to do. It was just convenience that we came together. But she made sure if I saw you again. It was strange. She said it was mine unless you were around, and then I had to give you it. But strange gift, but I don't question other people's traditions.
It's an old superstition. If someone has part of you, they have the potential to have power over you. It's a showing of trust. So you must have impressed her in the way she impressed you. So.
Thank you.
Was she okay? I mean, you've talked about her fighting. Did she seem stable?
She seemed very focused. There was no chaos in her movements. No. Some warriors, especially fighting on the wall, gives you a confidence. You're surrounded by your other force. There are magics at play. We have very, very well trained people on the wall. That is a confidence that some of the fresher soldiers use, but out in the woodlands, that confidence is not there, and you need to find it yourself. And some panic. Your sister, not a bead of stress tainted her fur at any point. She was flawless. Her emotions completely in check. She reminded me of the eagle.
That is quite the compliment.
Is she a leader among your people? Or your family?
Yes. Yes, my father was the leader of our tribe. I should have taken on that responsibility. But Saltaker, I believe, has taken it on instead.
At that sentence, Elva looks at Harry, looks at you, looks at Harry, looks at you. Just in a... That's two of you now. Well, your family fight well and teach well, it would seem. The Eagle made request for her to remain with the forces, but no offer was grand enough. She said she had things to do.
Well, I believe she is coming to find me soon. Thank you for this. That
Merely passing on a request of a friend.
No, but that means a lot. And I'm sorry for interrupting. And there's like a smile twinging at the corner of his lips. Just
there's no
catching
interruption,
up.
Sapphire. Do you want to join us? We are just drinking.
Oh, I do appreciate.
Come and have a drink, Sapphire.
Help me!
Help me!
Help me!
While I absolutely appreciate that offer,
You're on your own, fuckwad.
it has been another very long day for us. I will be meditating and then resting soon, but I appreciate the offer, and if you're in no rush tomorrow, I'd be happy to grab breakfast together, etc. Catch up.
I'll check my schedule.
Sapphire grins and bows, and then bows his head, looks over at Ari.
Gives him daggers.
Bows slightly to Ari. Good night, Lord Aristotle, and walks off to his bedroom.
Literally his response.
So Elva...
I don't know if Sapphire's ever actually admitted in front of any of the party that he was supposed to be leading group. That'll be interesting.
I heard it.
Harry's got nothing. Like, Harry's gonna be like,
exactly.
yeah, sounds legit. So I'm alright with that.
Harry's like, yeah, that's a normal lifestyle
That's
choice.
a normal response, right? Yeah, run away from your responsibility. Yeah.
As Sapphire disappears behind the door, Elva does not sit back down. She instead just finishes her drink, raises the empty cup to you and cheers. Good night, Harry. Thank you for the company.
Elva.
And she just turns and walks back to her room. She stops at the door, opens it, doesn't look back, goes into the room, closes the door. And you are again left on your Todd in the sitting room.
He very much relaxes. And then basically pours himself, there's some wine left in that jug, so he's pouring himself the rest of that wine and then taking that in his room with him.
Where he's going to plot Sapphire's horrible murder.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
In your bedroom, Harry, as you dekit to get into bed.
You thought you were safe, Bucko.
Your rapier, just... It's been a while since you've done a bit of practicing, and so you're there and you whatever you decide to wear for bed, and sword, and you begin to just take some small steps around the room, spinning the rapier, just feeling out the movements and patterns that you do in your training and stuff. Because regardless of being good at what you do, you would all have to still keep your edge.
We've not fought enough recently.
You've not fought enough.
I feel like he'd be kind of interspersing it though with drinks from the wine, because the wine's really good, and he really needs the wine right now.
As you become more and more inebriated,
Yep.
more wine will be brought if you so request. Your dance moves and patterns get literally that, more dance moves. You still have the blade. There is a moment though that you just stop and you hold the rapier in front of you, and the weight of the world rushes around you, as is often with those that have drunk too much. And the two bright sunstones just glowing. One with the promise of Ulrich, one with the promise of Xandria. And for a split second, and I mean a split second, you shake it off and you feel like you sort of shake and shiver and shudder. You think about going next door and putting that blade into Xandria. And you literally shake it off you, and you stare at the sword. And the realisation of what that promise means is ever present.
Now's a great time to do it.
Yeah.
He's drunk, yeah.
Before that long rest kicks in.
I kind of stare down at it. Kind of be moving it around. And then just kind of drop it.
The clatter is very, very loud. Almost to sensitive ears loud. And then just lays there on the floor.
Kind of glance at it, and he knows it's still glowing, so we'll kind of kick it under the bed. Be like, I've drunk too much, I'm going to bed.
Cool. You kick the rapier under the bed and you go to sleep. You all have a long rest.
Yeah.
And you awake in the morning to cawing ravens painted up as cockerels, because that's what the rich do. There are knocks at your door. No one enters, but there are words of breakfast is ready. Lord Romerick has invited you to join him at his personal table. Very much Harry, you're kind of used to this level of noble actions and folk that are not known to be rich, working for those that are rich. But this is obviously a great exaggeration of what you're used to. It's quite busy. There are people rocking around. You can hear them moving furniture about and stuff. And you... all, unless you wish to do anything before moving on to breakfast. Cool.
No, just head down.
What are you doing, Ginny? No, go on, sorry.
Ruby being an early riser and has been thinking about this, will actually go because she knows that Xandria doesn't sleep, or whatever Xandria does, for as long. So she takes something from her pack and goes and literally with a finger taps on Xandria's door.
Eldritch Blast.
I was waiting for that. There's a big hole in the door.
Just like steps back from the door, just to go, but I just
No response.
Ruby will knock like a normal person, but not loudly. This is still a quiet tapping.
Nope.
She'll just outright ask the door if she can come in. She's still speaking quietly, but
You do hear us, Andrea.
Yeah. Still no response though.
And she's
I
back.
have I have something for you.
Okay.
I love that yes and. Mwah. That's what RP's all about.
So Ruby will go in, just silently walk up to Sandra, hold out a hand, in which there are 2 small lumps of beeswax, roughly the size that one might stick into one's ear.
Xandria will, well, as you come in, Xandria's just kind of sat on the bed. She's like, if you look at the bed face on, she's just sat like on the side of it essentially. So her legs are like over the side of the bed and she's just sat staring at the wall. And when you come over and hand her the beeswax, she just very slowly turns her head and looks at your hand.
Do you have the miniature in your hand, Xandria?
Yeah.
In Xandria's hand, you see a wooden figurine, Ruby, that, despite being a wooden figurine, if you saw it without Xandria sat there, just picked it out in a shop, your immediate thoughts would be, well, this is of Xandria. What's different about it this morning, Xandria, and what is normal for your first looking at this, Ruby, is the image of Xandria. She's resting her hands on a large woodcutter's axe. The blade's on the floor and resting it. Do you know what I mean? It's just in front of her.
Yeah.
That's different to you, Xandria. That's normal to you, Ruby.
So Ruby obviously notices this, but doesn't say anything. Ruby values having both hands. And if Xandria isn't really sure, doesn't take the wax, then she's just gonna tap beside each ear.
And Xandria notices you tapping beside each ear and goes, she's still just looking at this. She looks back down at this figure and then she says, "Do you hear it, Ruby?"
I can't at the moment, but I can try. If you can tell me what you can hear. And again, Ruby, this is the quietest Ruby's ever speaking. This is
Oh yeah, it's all very hushed whispers and
this is like the quietest someone can, if Ruby speaks any quieter, only dogs will be able to. This is actually like a voice that Ruby uses when training dogs to commands. This is the quietest possible that the human vocal cords can go.
It's the sound of a woodlouse crawling along the corner of the floor over there. Sapphire purring loudly next door. Ari snoring. Kessa's heartbeat. The servants downstairs, the hustle and bustle outside. It's just life.
I've heard it in the wild shapes. Human ears are good at pretending it isn't there. I don't know if these will help. but I don't know any spells that will stop it yet, if you want it stopped. But I want to find one.
Shakes her head. There is no point in trying to block out the sounds of the world. They need to be heard, and it will just take time to readjust, but...
Ruby will shrug and say, if you want them, they might help with loud rooms at least.
It's a kind offer, Ruby, but I will pass.
I have it if you need it.
Thank you.
Holden.
And Ruby is actually going to risk a hand and just a hand on the side of Xandria's face, but it's a very sisterly.
Do you let her do it, Xandria?
She does, but as it gets close, like, she flinches for a second.
During...
Everything is obviously heightened, so like touch.
Yep.
It's overbearingly painful for a second, like being stung or getting an electric shock. But
because
she
of your
rights itself, and then
because of your current state, as soon as Ruby's fingers touch, something happens that has never happened before. It is a yeah, that's it really. Someone's happened. Someone touched it.
Someone touched her.
And they lived.
You grip the wooden figurine tighter and tighter, and you can feel it hurting your hands. You're gripping it that tight, but you can't let it go. It is almost as a comfort blanket that you just need to squeeze and squeeze until there's nothing left. And there is a very, very... You hear it, Ruby does not. It's more a feeling of sound than a actual sound. And it pulses out from you. A sense of the divine. And you can feel your very soul reaching out. You hear the chopping of wood for a very brief moment, and you look down at the figurine, releasing your grip ever so slightly. And you sense things for a brief moment divinely. And Ruby in front of you, her very soul radiates. And for that moment you are aware that Ruby is a celestial. And the sense fades. And you've just used divine sense.
Yeah. So after that kind of all settles and Xandria's grip on the statue lessens, she just kind of looks deep into Ruby's eyes. It's probably the most eye contact that Xandria has given anyone in a while.
Ruby's
yeah.
like, so, right?
Other than Kes. And she just kind of like tilts her head from side to side for a second and goes, oh. That does kind of make sense.
It makes sense, Andrea. Don't be silly. If things started making sense and people started doing sensible things, where would we be?
Probably better off because Harry would actually think before he acts. The same with Sapphire.
Ruby, like, there's a moment where, like, Ruby laughs, but there's a moment where she bites it back because Ruby's laugh is usually, like, very sudden and very vibrant, but she is still very consciously trying to be very quiet. So she claps a hand over her mouth, but it's a very obvious, but it's still like a vibrant display of mirth. It's just the volume is bitten back. Have you tried punching him in the face again?
Has been a while. Maybe do one.
You should do that.
Maybe I should go and wake them all up. And Xandria will get up off the bed and she just kind of takes the wooden figurine and just puts it on the inside of her top in her little inner pocket. And then starts walking out of the room.
Ruby will follow.
Like, this will be funny.
Yeah, basically we're just like this big shit-eating grin. Like, you know, it's like when you tell your sibling,
Someone's in trouble.
it's like, just mum know you did that.
As you all gather in the sitting room, kind of coming out of your rooms and such, you nod to one another, or whatever you were like. You see a few of the servants of the house mansion, just kind of stood either side of the doorways and such, dressed in the finery of the house, just kind of watching you lot as if to assume that you know that you should be following them to breakfast, but they don't say anything. To breakfast?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Ari's like as late as he can possibly kind of leave it.
As you see now, Ruby is torn. Quiet around Sandria, but right now she really wants to be super loud around Ari.
As you all head to breakfast.
She doesn't know. I think he probably hides it quite well.
Everyone can tell when Ari's hungover. I guarantee his mood is just the worst because he's a drama queen.
I see Ari as a chilled hangover. Just big part of that egotistical. Yeah, I'm hungover for a fucking good reason.
Wearing sunglasses, front out. Like
it's also like I feel like his background would kind of like behoove him to sit and drink for a long time.
Hangovers are nothing to you.
Anyway.
Hangover's just a break. That's all this.
Yeah.
Anyway, handling your hangover well.
Yeah.
You all head down to breakfast. Again, you walk down the same corridors with the grand stories all over the ceilings and such. You're taken across the large lobby area when you first entered and to a dining hall that would fit a grand ball if there was one ever held. You are very aware. I mean, this is actually quite... This is like the ultimate history trip for you. You are in the house of King Reinhardt. It is the throne... mansion, the sovereign, this is where it all was. This is where Reinhardt sat and ruled Ravenholm, the great people of Ravenholm, etc., etc. The dining hall is massive, as I say, and you can, a few of you, possibly, maybe, definitely, Harry, can just see that, the way the tables are set out is now for eating, but then they'd be moved when there's dancing or demonstrations or entertainment of any sort, and it kind of goes up and there's a raised dais at the back where like the king would sit, and you see, looking at the back of the thing, an empty, not the throne, but a very large grand chair from real dark wood, carved with ravens flying up the side of it and sort of doing a bit of a circular gathering in flight at the top of this chair where the most royal of your people would have sat. It looks well maintained, and you see Romerick and others sat on this top table, all in their fineries, all very, very expensive fashion of Ravenholm.
We look like we've been dragged.
And you lot rock up. Hey, up, bin men are here.
Here you had some trash that needed taken out. Where's Ulrich?
And you see lots and lots of tables out and lots of people now attending them to sit and eat their breakfast that is brought out. It's all waited service, etc., etc. On the top table, for those of you that didn't know she was here, you can see Elva sat up there, who is recognisable for you all. You see Lord Romerick, who is recognisable for you all. You see, I have literally forgotten her name. The Warforged, the Soulforged, from the House of the Forged. What is her name?
Good question. We
The
don't.
one that we saved alive of,
I literally, I know exactly who you're talking about. And I have no
whose
idea.
life haven't we?
I remember their pronouns.
Good enough.
I think we all have,
their
because we
name.
all went neutral immediately, but we have no idea what their name is.
I'd need to look through 2 different notebooks that are over there.
I had a bit of trauma since then. I don't remember. Kess is just like, yeah.
Just a bit.
It's my big Soulforged friends.
Garina.
Arena.
There we go.
Garina, yeah.
Garina, yes.
So
I
good at this.
knew that.
Like, you see.
It's only been about a year, it's fine, guys.
Yeah.
They look familiar. You can't think why, but they look familiar. And you see Garina of the House of the Forge also up at the table, and some others that are clearly nobility, but you don't recognise them. And there are still spaces up at the table and those that escorted you from the guest wing escort you, or gesture at least, to follow to the top table. And this is a breakfast. This is, it's not the evening meal where everyone in Ravenholm is in a ball. You are just at a very, very fancy breakfast. You are sat, or seated, as it were. You can sit pretty much where you want. People move, there's enough space. Romerick is further to, if you had your back to the throne and looking out, he's on your left. So as you approach, on your right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good read.
I hope that's not going to come up and be important later.
So do I, because I will get it wrong. He's on the roof. And you are seated around Romerick, and Elva and Garina are at the other end of the table. Elva just nods respectfully. Garina, in their warforged state, just nods slowly. And food and drink, waters, fruit juices. I don't know how many waters there is. Water, fruit juice, and morning wine is brought. As you're all seated, there will be foods of many varieties. You can expect most of it would be wasted because they can. But there is lots of fruits that Ravenholm is not well known for its fruits. However, magic is a thing, and they have lots and lots of gold. So you eat quite
More
a.
important.
Yeah, it is a very over the top breakfast, but to everyone else seems like the norm. Xandria and Kesrion probably want to burn the place down because they could feed every tribe in the deserts with the breakfast that's in front of them.
Yeah.
Ruby,
Ruby is
fan
full
of
on toe and
wasting
Highland,
food.
and it like, why we're not all eating out the same bowl? What's this? what are they? What are
I feel like
utensils?
even Arya would be like, this is a lot for breakfast.
I mean,
Like
this is-
maybe for like a high meal, like with other nobility perhaps, but
50
like
sessions
for
ago, I would have been
breakfast.
like, I'm staying here. I'm retiring at level 1 here.
Aye.
Yeah,
Romerick,
but also 50 sessions ago, the siblings would have torched the place probably. So
Yeah.
we've all come a long way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if
Romerick,
anyone asks Ruby what she wants, she's just gonna blank face because you don't choose what you want for breakfast. You either get given breakfast or you eat what is available for breakfast. You don't.
well, they haven't asked you what you want, and they don't dish anything up. They literally bring it out, and there are bowls of fruit, there are bowls of meats, there are
Family style.
yeah, and you dig in as you so wish. Romerick looks a lot better than he did yesterday. He doesn't immediately interact. He kind of settles himself, and he's pouring himself a cup of water, a goblet of water, a goblet of juice, and he does pour himself a goblet of morning wine. The morning wine, which you probably for yourself, Harry, morning wine is it's weak. It's just got a kick rather than actual let's get wrecked on this wine. But you've given it a good go in the past. Challenge accepted. and then Romerick will turn to you all. Good morning, all. I hope you slept well and the rooms were to your liking. It's guests are a rare thing during a civil war. Yes, and they write themselves.
Yes, thank you, Lord Romerick. The rooms were wonderful.
You're very welcome,
Greatly
Lady
appreciate it.
Summerbreeze. As you can see,
Very swanky.
eat. Thank you, Sapphire. Eat to your heart's content. There's plenty to go around. I delayed the meeting of the Rabe last night as I wanted a night off. However, before we hold the Rabe this afternoon, there are a couple of things I would like to put to yourselves. One would be information that you can possibly pass on, or theories that I can pass to the Rabe. Lady Elva of the Wall is also passing whatever it is the Eagle has told her to pass on, but she will speak for that side of things. Also, I'd like you to be in the meeting. If you so wish, it's merely a request. I would like eyes and ears that are not of our people to maybe see things clear and with less emotion. I understand, Ari, this would be difficult for you as you are very much in the thick of it, as are we. But your friends are in the thick of it, but the emotional ties are not to our wall and not to our fiendish issue, which is what we will be discussing. The issue of the Copper Forest, as I said last evening, is somewhat of a moot point for us at this moment in time, because that is over, in the sense of there is no longer a fight. The forest was unfortunately, and looks at Zandria, unfortunately destroyed. And it is not something we can rectify through a meeting of old, stuffy politicians. But the fiendish force that is within our realms is something we need to address, or at least the people of the council need to address. So it would be a favour to me if you could lend your eyes and ears to the meeting. You don't have to speak. I just wish for you to see the things we will not, whether through ego or complacency.
This is something that I would be happy to do for you, Lord Bromwich. I feel it is only fair that we lend you this aid.
My thanks, Lady Summerbreeze. It is also, as I said yesterday, I will happily give you my seal to wander the city and acquire what it is you need within reason for whatever plans you have made going forwards, because I doubt you will sit idly by.
I don't think we have the ability to sit idly by.
So if this is well received by yourselves, then we should eat, drink. We have a few hours to waste or take advantage of the quietness before the meeting comes. So eat, and then he kind of just sits back and starts helping himself to foods and fruits and stuff. It's quite quiet. There's not a lot of rambunctiousness, if that even is a word. If it isn't, we'll put it in the dictionary. People eat, they drink. There are conversations being held, but they're kind of like very close, and there's a few smiles and stuff, and you kind of look around and the hall is massive and not filled, and you see people just eating and drinking their breakfasts, and they start to leave and disappear, and the servants start to like clear up and stuff. Again, it's not very, it's just quiet. It's just a chilled breakfast that's quite swanky. Romerick gets up to leave. I'm going to go spend some time with my wife and then prepare for the meeting just early afternoon. If you are here just afternoon, then I can make sure you don't miss the meeting, but I'm sure you have ways to send word ahead if needs be. I will arrange for the seal to be brought to you before you finish your breakfast. You have free reign is a strong sentence, but you will have an advantage with the merchants carrying this seal. Now please, take care of yourselves and I will see you very soon. He gives a little nod to everyone and a final lower sort of half nod, half bow to Zandria. And off he goes. During this, Garina and Elva had left the table during the conversation with Romerick, and you're just left with a few unrecognised faces, other than the ones you've seen of, obviously, servants and eating breakfast and stuff. It's 9:30, so we're going to have a break, because I decided not to go to the toilet before we started streaming, and now I'm dying inside. So,
Because of the breakfast time, you were like, it's 9:30.
I need breakfast.
And I
I
was
need
like,
breakfast. So we're going to go have a quick bio break. I'm going to grab a drink as well, because that helps, the bio breaks. Please stick around. We'll be back in about 10 minutes, 15 tops, and then we'll crack on and see what this lot do. inside a normal meeting because they're super exciting. Dun, dun, dun. See you in a bit. See you in a bit. Boom.
No
We're back. Aha,
responsibilities.
we're back.
Haha.
I'll tell you what I should do actually.
You run from
But,
those.
we'll have to sort a command out for the animation that was done by my friend Omar. So if people want theirs, they can get theirs done. Welcome back to Heavyweight Gaming. Whee! Right, so we're in the second half of tonight's session. The music's really the ambience is really quiet for this thing, so it's really
Yeah, it's just somebody constantly like clinking their teaspoon off the inside of a cup.
Yeah, that's all I hear.
Yeah,
too.
it's just like I keep having this urge to just go fucking spoon down.
I have it turned down so low that I can't hear it.
That's true, Sam.
I'll go back to that for now, so it can just be a bit of music now and then, and a bit
Come
of noise.
on, come on. We want our shopping episode.
Oh no, we don't.
So-
Hey, we haven't had a shopping episode in.
You haven't had a shopping episode, I don't think. You may have
Not
bought.
enough,
You may have bought something whilst running
I
it.
have a very Travis attitude
Certain
for shopping
death.
episodes.
So does your DM. Don't worry about
Get
that.
out from under your blanket.
Yeah. So, you've had your breakfast. One of the servants or personal aides of Romerick turns up and gives you the seal of the Raven, which you know, Harry, is essentially a credit card. Ka-ching!
Like, good, we have 90 something gold. 92 gold. I wrote it down. at the back.
You do have
Yeah,
the
so
morning.
can we only charge goods and services to the card, or can we get cash advances off?
Getting
The
the
bit
first
first
one.
cheeky.
The first one. You have the morning. You have the City of Ravens to spend a few hours doing whatever you wish to do, or not. You don't have to do anything before you return to take part in the Sovereign Rabe Council meeting. What do you wish to do?
As they're like finishing up their breakfast and everything, Xandria will turn to Ari. Ari, I assume you will know where it's best for buying armor and weapons.
Like, not specifically here, but I have an idea.
I suppose if we can just find the merchant district.
Or ask one of the many people walking around this room predisposed to help anyone.
We can do that. I just thought it might be easier just to ask Ari first, just in case he remembered.
Oh yeah, but he's useless, isn't he?
No, that is true. Whilst I remember, and then Xandria just slaps Ari across the face.
Kess just about chokes on whatever it is he is eating or drinking. It's just...
There
What's that for?
Just felt right. It's been a while.
It's good to have you back, sister.
Sapphire's just a bit like, what? But yeah, this feels like life is back to normal.
I was really hoping that Sapphire was going to go, oh, she doesn't even know about last night, and it's going to be like, right, fuck.
You might know about last night. That might be why you got slapped. Don't know Lane carrots, I bet you might.
So,
Yeah.
so what are you doing, players?
Just
That's
rubs
12
his
hit
cheek
points,
and just
Harry.
kind of like. Hmm.
I'm joking.
was that?
I'm joking. Carry on.
Oh.
It could have been worse, Harry. Just remember, it could have been worse.
Yeah, I probably deserved it.
I don't do anything without good reason.
Ruby will catch Landria's eye and wink.
Should we head out?
And she doesn't even know about last night. I'm joking.
She does. I think it would indeed be best that we head out. We should probably get ourselves kitted up with new supplies before we have to attend this meeting. As much as I don't wish to involve myself any further with the affairs of Ravenholm. And then she looks at Kess. Unfortunately, brother, I think you have become quite intertwined with this land, so...
Looking at the lance.
I think it's best that we help them deal with this issue and then go and see if we can find the Jesuit.
I agree. I need more information to bring back to Toodles, if nothing else.
And with
I
that,
was
Xandria...
thinking.
Oh.
So no, just
No,
if
go ahead.
they were still in the middle of a conversation. I've been thinking. I might ask a cleric why I get wings sometimes.
Will Xandria know as soon as she says why I get wings? Does that kind of click with the divine sense?
Ruby did tell you when you came back, when you asked what you missed, Ruby went, meh, sometimes I get wings.
Yeah, I know,
the
but that was
Celestial
like
would-
literally
yeah.
right after she'd been resurrected. Let's be
So-
honest. There was
nobody's
no
yeah.
thought going through Xandria's brain other than fuck life.
So yes, but the same way Fae have wings and creatures can manifest. So I mean, for yourself, she told you she got wings. She wants to ask about wings. She pings Celestial. It's kind of an obvious connection.
Yeah, it's two and two.
So yeah, you do.
So yeah, vague. Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. After Ruby says that, Xandria just looks and goes, "Could have something to do with the fact that you are celestial." So
What's one of them? Because we always thought I was human. Because I mean,
Oh, even I know that. You're an angel.
like, blank, Toa doesn't have that. Toa worships trees. Like, Ruby's
I mean,
like,
so is Aries
I was
kind
like-
of blankish
yeah,
as well. He's like,
Ruby's like, well, but in fairness to my parents, they thought I was human, but they'd never really met a human before they adopted me, or they might have, but not very often. It's mostly halflings and gnomes up there, and then they found me and they were like, well, it looks human, and makes sense. So we always thought I was, but maybe I'm not.
didn't you also say you had acquired a unicorn at some point?
You've seen him when
Oh,
we
yes.
very first went to the.
Out of character, you have seen the unicorn.
I have seen the unicorn. Yes, right.
But the acquired is new. There was a
Yeah.
unicorn.
Kind of might also
don't-
fall into the remit of being a celestial.
You say
Unicorns are
acquired.
very.
I mean, he doesn't belong to me. He belongs to him, but sometimes he shows up if I ask.
Again, this may all tie in with being a celestial, but there's no harm in asking a cleric or someone of a religious notation if they know anything further.
I mean,
But you're definitely not human, Ruby.
Guess it's just you again, Ari.
Oh yes, sorry, Ari. Apparently you are once again the token human of the party.
You'll get like a hearty clap on the shoulder. It's like Kess is getting up and like getting ready to kind of.
he's remembering what Natatha and Sasha said of there was not necessarily just human in his lineage, so
Ah, but we don't know that. For now, you are a
no,
token human.
he's just remembering it to himself.
I have been waiting, if I'm honest, for Mel/Harry to kind of prod that.
Nah.
But it has been 4 months, so I'll let you off.
Harry
Ruby
never
seems
gives anything up unless he has to. Come on.
So,
unfazed by the idea that she's not human because the species and the difference in species to her family was never really that important to her, but it's just she'd grown up knowing a bit about humans because they were like known of in Tower, and now people are using words like celestial and angel like she's going to understand what they mean. And I don't know, the cleric seemed to know what she was when she gave him a little healing, so but she's not going to go and harass that poor boy again. She's not mean.
he's quit. He's retired at 18. So, what are you doing as a party, as individuals? I get that there is a shopping list of sorts. For the more unique items, you will have to roleplay. If you are just going for groceries and healing potions, I will allow you to go, there's an alchemy shop, we would like this. Unless you really want to know, the family tree of the gnome that makes potions there. Ruby, for yourself, if you do go nudging at the religious stores, again, we can do that. I just need to know what you wish to do as a party or individuals.
Go ahead.
I think Kess's plans are to get together some healing potions and provisions for returning to the Copper Forest and to Toodles the Jesuit.
Okay. So, immediate shopping for general supplies, meeting, Copper Forest. Yeah.
Basically.
Sandria wants to acquire some armor and a weapon.
I am aware what Zandria is about to pursue.
Healing potions would be great. If we
Cool.
can find any.
Yep.
General kind of healing potions kind of stuff.
So, Ari, Sapphire, and Kess, you will go one way. Ruby, are you going to go check in on clerical
Ruby's
stuff?
not really viewing this as like a point of urgency. She's happy to trail around with whoever else is doing something interesting, and like, if they see a temple on the way home.
Okay. Didn't answer my question, but thank you, Ruby.
Oh, sorry, you wanted a straightforward answer.
Like the other three gave me, Ruby. They're off the potions. So I will say,
Ruby likes a good apothecary. She'll follow them.
there is a pantheon that is quite strongly present in Ravenholm. It is not difficult to find. Like, the temples are everywhere. The city of Ravens is a metropolis, and it is the origin of Ravenholm and its pantheon. So finding the pantheon, it's made up of 4 deities. Ari, you know these inside out. You have the woodcutter, the red lady, the grandmother, and the grey wolf. They're your 4 deities.
Boo hiss, red lady. Boo hiss.
Yeah, I was going to say the temples of the Red Lady will not be getting Ruby's patron.
As you are pottering around looking for apothecaries and magical potions and stuff like this, and stocking up on your tea leaves and all this palaver, mentioning that you may look at a cleric or two, Ari will be more than able to give you a rundown that the Red Lady's pantheon is all about death, but not necromantic and raising undead armies. It's just their main domain is death. When there are funerals and such, it is the Red Lady that is the one that is called upon, and it is kind of their remit to handle that side of the cycle, as it were. The grandmother is referred to many times as grandfather, grandmother, the elder, grandparent. Like, there is many forms that they are requested about, but it is basically an elder of your ancestry of Ravenholm itself that is that wisdom throughout the land, and they're very much called upon. They're the heaviest clerical following for that not physical protection, just that experience that is passed on protection. Teach the child not to burn their hands on the fire type thing. Or let them do it, and when they find out, don't let them do it again. The woodcutter is the be-all, end-all protector of Ravenholm. Their job is to wander the forests that are so dangerous to those of Ravenholm and protect them. Those that wander without protection, those that don't necessarily ask for protection when they set off on their journey, but then come across a bit of an incident where they need. It's usually the woodcutter, those of Ravenholm, would all of a sudden, whether religious or not, call upon to do such things. The Grey Wolf is the absolute profound reputation of, if you mess with Ravenholm, and this stems back from the time when Reinhardt was in charge, the reason Ravenholm became an empire across a lot of Colossus was because the Grey Wolf was called upon a lot. There is no evil, there is no good, there is pure neutrality. But when you call upon the wolf to aid you in your actions, they are fulfilled. They are an absolute. And they are usually very... You get a lot of lawful groups, orders, collections of folk that would follow the Grey Wolf. The Knights of the Hooded Wolf, followers of the Grey Wolf. They are incredibly lawful. So those would be your 4, Ruby, that if any of them piqued your interest to investigate further, that would be the flavours that you would be able to bump into.
Of those, the woodcutter actually quite closely resembles what Ruby understands to be, if Druidism had tenets, it would be very similar to that. To speak for those who can't speak for themselves, to protect those who need it, to walk the woods or the hills or the coast, and...
Well, you already saw in one of the
those,
woodcutter temples, when you resurrected Xandria, that they have that almost inside the architecture of Dark Iron. They have that almost glade-like area to the temple. So yeah, and there are many. It's not a case of if you see one, you can't not see anything in a city this size. It's everywhere. Whether it be religion, peddling goods, folk training in certain buildings for specific, whether it be martial combat or academia, you're in a metropolis of a high ancient fantasy world. You will always see what you're trying to see. So if you do happen to, which you will definitely, walk past a temple of the woodcutter you wish to walk in and have a word?
Yeah.
Cool. We'll do the easy bit first. Sapphire, Ari, and Kesfion, you are with Ruby. Sandra, you off solo looking for this out?
Yeah.
Cool. How do you lot feel about that? Before that happens.
Not great.
I was kind of like looking at her, feeling the slap still on his cheek, kind of going,
Might it be best for us to travel as a group in this unknown city?
I don't think that I'm gonna come across any issues. I'll be alright alone, trust me.
If you're
I will
sure.
kind of look at Cass and just be like,
Ruby will kind of like make eye contact, just like raise her eyebrows, like, you're definitely sure you didn't want the earbuds, kind of.
I'm certain. You guys go ahead, go and get the potions and whatever else you need to get.
Alright, don't kill anyone if they try to rip you off.
I shall try my hardest.
Wait, we've only got one token.
There's a good point.
Maybe we are best to travel as a group.
No, it's alright. You guys go. I'm gonna go and scout out, because it might take a while to have a look for what I want to look for. I'd rather find what I want, then I can go back later and get it.
Okay.
do you want company?
No, I'm alright. Go on. Off with yous.
Take your ball and fuck off.
Yeah. Be gone.
Understood.
Cool.
Okay.
So the 4 of you, Aristotle, Ruby, Kesfion, Sapphire, you go looking for apothecaries and such. It will take you pretty much up until noon before you start
Yeah.
returning back to the mansion. You will find several alchemical shops that sell the stuff that Ruby would consider alchemical and a more magical nature that those of you that have experienced a bit more nature as well. What are you after? Straight up shopping list. What are you after?
Health potions, like potions of healing for sure. I think.
Potions of
Agree.
healing for sure. Some basic rations and stuff for the journey, because I'm pretty sure at this point what they did have is either completely borked from all the interdimensional fuckery that they've been up to.
I've done nothing but teleport bread for 3 days.
You're like, it's barely even bread anymore. Like, it's just glue.
Yeah. So you are more than able to
Yeah.
restock rations and such. It's not even effort.
Yeah.
The rations you do get are instantly. I mean, it makes Lembus bread look like it's cheap. Do you know what I mean? And you easily recuperate any lost rations and such. If you wish to buy anything of a mundane nature that is very specific, like an extra 50 foot of rope or anything like that, just say it out loud and it's a done deal. Obviously,
No.
the rules of encumberment are, if I don't think you can carry it, you can't carry it. I don't care what the rules say. If you say I want to buy 25 great swords, I'll say you buy 25 great swords and can carry 2.
Probably after a few more like kunai, they're throwing darts.
Yep, that's fine.
I'm getting quite low on them.
Again, I'm just going to have to... I can't believe I'm going to say this. Common sense. Not sapphires, Sean's.
Oh, they're 5 copper per dart. Yeah, this should be.
Yeah, you're fine.
Just add a few.
Again, that mundane sort of stuff is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Healing
No,
potions. So, as you
Yeah.
are wandering along, you find a greater healing potion. I will tell you what you find, and then you decide whether you want them all, or etc. Because obviously the bill will go back to Romerick, and I'll let you determine that.
Yeah.
You find 3 potions of healing amongst the various shops. 1 potion of greater healing. 1 potion of superior healing.
And a can of iron brew.
I'm just making sure you're writing this down. And I say a promise. A promise from a merchant that can get you a potion of supreme healing if you came back tomorrow for it. Now, these are the prices. The potions of healing are 50 gold each. The greater healing is 150. The superior is 450. And if you get the one tomorrow, the supreme healing, it is 1,350 gold.
I don't trust myself to carry that. Never mind buy it.
No. No.
We're
Ruby
carrying
will
a potion
take
that's
4
worth more
rolls
than
of
you are.
gold.
As you are buying healing potions, here's the homebrew rule on the healing potions that will be forevermore in my games.
Okay.
If you drink a potion outside of combat, a healing potion, you will get full benefits. Yep. In combat, if you use a bonus action to drink it, you roll the dice to see what you get. If you use your action to drink it, you get full benefits.
Okay.
Alright? Same goes for if you're giving it to someone else. So if one of your mates
Cool.
is on the floor, bonus action to give him it, you roll. Full action to give him it, they get all of it.
Cool.
Make
Cool.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
makes
it.
sense.
Cool.
I was about to make a joke when you read the prices of Ruby will take 4 rolls of gauze and a bottle of disinfectant, please. But yeah, actually, some basic first aid supplies because there's a bit of Ruby's cloak that's like been like ripped off in strips to make bandages. So
Again, you are more than able to
Yeah.
restock on your mundane things. During your travels and popping into certain shops and such, because these things kind of fall in with one another, anything that is beyond mundane and magical, you tend to have the odd item or two that happens to be in certain shops. There are things that are mentioned to you along your ways for looking for potions. There is dedicated potion shops and there are those that are mix and match. There is a great sword that is decorated in all the different shields and all the family houses. So the Forge, the Lilies, the Eagles, the Tor, and the Red Lady, all their shields are all over this massive great blade. And the handles itself is very simple, and the guard is very simple, but the blade itself is decorated in shields. It is an immaculate piece of weaponry that is on the wall, hung up. There are several arcane glyphs all around it, on the walls around it. Just looking at it, inexperienced eye, it's very expensive. If you wish to know more about it, let me know, and we'll go in there.
That's a bit rich for my blood.
There are several scrolls that get offered to you. There is a scroll of invisibility for 240 gold. There is a...
I think I have something similar, so Ruby might be going, oh, I can do that anyway.
There is a scroll of the soul cage, which is very rare. And the scroll comes in at 2,500 gold.
Mel's face.
Mel talking, not Harry. You know, Harry's like, oh well, it's fine.
Ruby's like, yeah, I'll take 2.
I'll take one big hand.
There is a dress shop. There's quite a lot of like fashionable fashion shops around the place. Obviously, being in certain districts that are purely dedicated to certain flavours of merchantry. But in this dress shop, this fashion shop, it's not just dresses. I meant dresses, and you get. Never mind. There's a shop.
Clothing.
Clothing
Clothing
shop.
store.
Could I fuckers think of the word clothing? Jesus Christ.
Dress
In this
shop.
clothing dress shop, trouser shop, vest. They've got in a glass case that's in the middle of the shop, and the shop, all the clothing rails and stuff all go around this glass case, and there is a rapier, and it is very heavily decorated with icicles going all around the basket hilt. There's a blue sheen to the rapier blade, and there is that element of really dense glacier winter rather than just, it's a cold day winter. It's very heavy on the ice decoration that's around the basket hilt and the blue gem at the base of the pommel and such. It's a very, very nice rapier. It is.
Does it look familiar to Harry?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
No. I mean, you've seen fancy rapiers, because that's kind of a thing for those that choose the rapier, especially in Ravenholm. Like, if you're using a rapier, it's a very personal weapon. It's and usually
Posh boy
decorated.
sword.
It's a posh boy sword, so it's decorated in a way they see fit. This is a very, very well decorated rapier, leaning towards the flavour of ice and such. But it's all you are told is it is over 2,000 gold. And it's the
that shop
only
assistant,
it's the only
they've
magical
just
item.
looked at us and gone, you can't afford it. Get out.
All these things I've listed, that token will allow you to purchase, but that will also mean that bill gets put back to Ruffworx. Whether
And
good
you
or
will
bad, just
I do not have anything that will cast invisibility at the moment. If that influences anyone's decision on whether they want that scroll.
No.
Stuff I know shit all about magic.
Suggestion on the healing potions of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's a lot. 3 basic, 2 of the greater. 3 of the ones at 50, 2 of the ones at 150.
I'm 150.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
sounds
feel
good.
like they don't want to take the piss.
Oh no, I absolutely do not want to take the piss.
it's Xandria. Give me everything on that shelf.
Well, mostly because he's been shopping with Sandra before.
Don't know what you mean.
Though
Harry
I
looks at
imagine
the
that
great sword and
everything
goes, I
else.
can't lift it.
I've not got a shortage of weapons on me at the moment, and I'm pretty sure that everything else we've probably bought with the exception of the like healing potions, has maybe come to 2 gold. Because I can't imagine the food has been quite as expensive based on the 5 copper for the kunai.
You feel that the food is overpriced until you present the seal, at which point they put it down to normal price.
Yeah.
Because even though Romerick can afford it, they don't want Romerick. No, you know what I mean?
They're not taking
they
either.
don't want to push it.
Oh, guess of Romerick. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, exactly that.
I would still like to be
not
having my
tourists.
trading license. Thank you very much.
So, do you have your shopping list?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mel, I'll let you do the math. Tell me what you bought.
We're going for 3 normal healing potions,
Yeah.
which is 50 each. And then what do
150.
we see? 2 is the
Yeah.
greater.
So
that's 300 on top of your.
So that's
150,
so it's 450.
450. I feel like that's.
Did that in my head. Are you impressed?
I feel like that's not extracting
not-
the Michael.
Yeah, that's not terrible, like in the grand
Thanks.
scheme of
There's a
things.
sticker.
Given the building he lives in.
Yeah,
mean-
no, I agree. I mean, to be honest, I would have pushed for a normal healing each, and then the 2 greater healing. But
I mean, that's what I was going to, but I wasn't sure if that was taking the piss.
It's up to you. I just need to know.
No, I think we'll go for 1 each. Normal healing potion each. So we take 5 of the normals and 2 of the greaters.
I would.
Because healing, guys, healing.
Desert Fair. Posh to one.
150.
Take what you absolutely need.
I'm with you,
Take the
Ken. I'm with
absolute
you.
piss.
So while you are bottling about, you see them 3 in and out of a few shops that are facing each other, Ruby, like backwards and forwards. You see they've picked up a bottle, then another bottle, and then, you know, they're potting backwards and forwards. You popped in a couple of the shops that, yes, do sell a very magical alchemical concoctions, but at the same time are able to provide you with any ingredients you so wish for your teas and local remedies and stuff that you're used to making back home. You, as I say, walking around, it's impossible not to notice temples and churches and large shrines and such dedicated to the 4 members of the Pantheon of Ravenholm. And there is I say small, it's still quite a grand temple, less in your face than the one that you resurrected Xandria in, but this temple will definitely hold maybe 30 people, 40 people at a push. Again, the architecture, the entire city is built as a awe-inspiring thing to be seen on a landscape, or, you know, when people are approaching, etc. You approach the temple. Outside there are quite a few young acolytes. You assume they're acolytes, or at least when, you know, those like back in Tower, they're just learning off the older ones how to do their thing.
That means they're doing the sweeping.
They're
Hoping for
sweeping.
not get a
They're
thing here.
actually, they all have small hand axes.
Yeah.
And they are using those hand axes to make wooden figurines of humanoid shape, animal shape, and they're all doing it as a practice, like it's a lesson. There's no adult, as it were, around, and they're all just sat there, and they've all got a green, like tree, leaf green tunic on, and they've all got the wooden, the woodcutter axe, wooden holy symbol from a bit of leather thonging around their neck. In the doorway, you do see one of the elders. Her hair is loose. It's got a similar colour to yourself, but darker. That corn blonde, but it's a dark corn blonde. Just kind of loose, hangs round. It's got that same sort of freedom that yours has, but not the experience of the wild stuck in it. She's middle-aged. Again, her tunic is just as simple as the young ones. Her wood axe, her woodcutter's axe is a bit bigger, but other than that, she's dressed the same way as the nippers, obviously, for her size. And she just notices that you are quite clearly heading in their direction and paying attention to what's going on around. May I help you?
Perhaps. I have questions. I don't need help. I just seek wisdom, knowledge.
Maybe you're not aware of the woodcutter, but wisdom and knowledge is over that way. And she just nods in any direction to your left. But I can offer as much wisdom as one has learned throughout my years. And she literally produces a rectangle piece of wood and a hand axe. Do you wish to sit and talk?
Thank you. Ruby will. Is she like on a chair or?
She gestures
bench?
towards the stone stools that the children are sitting on. And there's a few spare. And she just gestures towards them outside the temple.
Yeah.
It's quite surreal that you look around and it's like being in the middle of, Val Helsing's worst nightmare. And then there's all these nippers in green tunics doing whittling. Whittling, but with
axes.
Yeah. And she gives you...
Oh, that's a good way to lose a finger.
Yeah.
Not with these trained elite ninjas. And she gives you the block of wood and an axe. And one of the children runs over and passes her a block of wood and axe. And she just gives you it. And then she starts going to work on her thing. So, what can I possibly pass on that if you don't have questions? Do you start whittling?
Now, I do actually have a whittling knife because Albera gave me one. Ruby is sensible enough to know that if she, as completely inexperienced whittler, starts trying to whittle with an axe, she is going to lose a finger, so it's more a sort of sharpening the axe blade with the wood, kind of fiddling with it, kind of.
During your beginning of this, one of the little ones potters over, without saying a word, just sort of grabs your hands and tries to. Very small. They're one of the very young ones, and they start trying to position you, and then they realise that it ain't working. You're too adult strong to like.
Oh no! If they're like trying to help, then Ruby
they are
will
trying
let...
to help, but they're failing
Ruby
miserably.
will absolutely let her
You
or
can
them,
let
sorry.
You can let them as much as you want, Ruby. It is awkward. And the kid just starts laughing, looks at the elder acolyte, and just waddles back to the group.
Ruby would laugh.
It takes time.
Thanks the child for their help anyway, for trying.
They just crack on. It takes time. So, don't ask your questions. And starts whittling. And she just sits waiting for you to interact.
Right, so you just said don't ask questions.
Yeah, because you said I don't have questions.
I said I have questions.
Oh, I thought you said I don't have questions.
I said I don't need, physical help. I have questions.
Alright, cool. Rocks fall, you all die. Re-roll. You come back in as Ruby Mark II.
So just while fiddling, but also kind of watching to see what she's Ruby, I don't need to go through it all, but Ruby will give a brief backstory that she was a foundling as a toddler. Her parents always thought she was and told her she was human. Blah blah blah, left the Highlands, dramatic music.
Well done.
And then I got hit on the head and I nearly died. And I saw the stars.
It usually happens.
And I saw a gnome, and they said something about my mother, but not my mother, but birth giver, life giver, point of, and they said that my bloodline had awakened, and they sent me back to where I was, and I wasn't in the stars anymore. And I didn't really think much of it because it sounded like nonsense, and to be honest, we were very busy. But then a few days later, we were in battle, and I was so furious. And then I had wings.
Okay.
And some of my friends who are from like more interesting places, they said I'm a celestial. One of them used the word angel, which I haven't heard before, and they're saying these things like oh yeah, you're not human, it's fine, you're an angel. I've never heard of these things before. But when we first came to the city of Ravens, we came to another temple of the axe, and the young cleric there seemed to know. He was hurt, so I gave him a little bit of healing, and he spoke to my friends about me as though he knew more. So I wondered if maybe a cleric might know more.
It sounds like you're an awesome. It sounds like you're an awesomer. Sounds like you're.
I'm an arser.
Awesomer.
Sounds like you're. I'll just leave that there. There's my next t-shirt. Thanks. It sounds like you're an ASMR.
Again, just polite blankness. These are words that these words don't. There is no equivalent to these words in Halfling.
Looking you up and down in your tartan. You are from the Tolan Highlands, yes? And you have a faith in the land around you.
Yes.
Angel is merely. You are not an angel, my dear. Or not in the sense I believe your friends are trying to say to you. But the celestial simply means that you are indeed human, but your bloodline is has a celestial presence. So you are very much human. You can hold to that. The celestial side of you that Asimar are a race of people very much like me and yourself, and she gestures towards one of the young dwarfs that's whittling with the rest of them. But it probably means a conversation with your parents. Are your parents human? Of Towan, did you say? Are they? Do your parents move to Towa, or?
The people I call my parents are halflings. They are like I was a foundling.
Ah, I understand. I understand. They may or may not, but they would be able to explain it better than I. It simply means that there is a celestial presence in your bloodline from your family, whether it be a gift, a pairing, anything, an event. There's nothing to worry about. It simply means that you are able to do things others can't, and in a blessed way. When you said you healed a fellow follower of the woodcutter.
Oh, I've always been I've always been able to heal people. The wild and the nature, like.
When you healed them, did you use your druidic magic, or did you just will it? There is a feeling of difference.
The first time I didn't mean to do anything except comfort him.
Then there are such gifts that your celestial nature will allow you. Those that are able to lay on hands like the paladins of their deities, they are able to summon forth minor magics in a curative way. Those with a celestial presence are able to do the same without following the path of a paladin. Merely means you are more beautiful than you already are.
Ruby's just sort of internalizing. She's listening, she's nodding, she's clearly like engaged, but she's trying to piece this together in a way that makes sense in a world where you get up at 5 a.m. and you work with sheep and you eat bread and it's not quite fixed in the brain, but she's understanding the words. It's just going to take some processing to get there. But
Speak with your parents, those that raised you, for they are, as you say, your parents. Maybe they can give you a bit of history. If you've not already asked, I do not know.
They said they found me in the woods when I was away. Lost.
Well, then maybe they don't know
they
anything more than
assumed I
that.
was human.
You are very much human.
Well, no,
It doesn't change. It is merely a gift, maybe unwanted, maybe wanted, but it is not a hurtful gift. It is more a.
Oh no, I can tell there's no hurt to it. And there's a beat, and then there's. So are there people in the stars then? You say celestial. That my common isn't good, but that means of the sky, doesn't it?
Yes and no. So, Colossus is a very large place. There are people beyond the borders of Riv, as yourself in Toa, and many seasons ago, a lot of Colossus was under the wing of Ravenholm. But Celestials is generally a term that a lot of folk use to just simply describe those with a, as I say, a presence of a deity or a. Some call them gods, some call them deities, some call them ancestors, many folk refer to those that they see as a higher power, an omnipotent power, as many terms. Some will think of a celestial as higher, some think of it simply as staring at the stars.
So one of they beings touched or blessed someone in my bloodline, and now I have wings.
Yes, it could have just been a gift into your bloodline. It doesn't always have to be, a physical. There are many ways these blessings and bloodlines appear. I could bore you for many a day.
I wouldn't think it boring, but
You're
thank
more
you.
than welcome to spend time in the temple if you wish.
I would like to sit while my friends finish their errands, but I would like to try this with a knife, not an axe, because I like having 10 fingers. And she will take out the little whittling axe and the little whittling knife, and with slightly more success than with a double-bladed axe,
She looks at the knife for a split second, squints a little bit, and then carries on. And then we can talk. And as you're left to talk, give me a... What would you like to know about? Subject-wise. You don't have some details? You want to know more about celestial stuff, or...
Actually, Ruby would like to ask more about the wee dollies that they're all making.
Cool, give me a religion check. The wee dollies. Eh?
I haven't got a... Religion.
Yep. Don't need to be hard.
Religion. That is a 15.
That's cool. Cool. We'll get back to you, but you speak to her during their shopping trip. Zandria, as walking the streets of Raven by thyself. You're pottering along. You are obviously deciding your own paths. Rerunning the last few days, months through your head. And you are clearly looking for the right tools for the next few steps. You know what's needed. Your life, your entire life has been about, take what you need. If the task in front of you needs something else, then go get that to do with that task. You have a strong inkling. You quite regularly now notice yourself squeezing the figurine. You're not sure, but it feels like it's getting a bit misshapen, almost like when you hold clay for too, and it kind of goes soft. But you get on with it. There are several areas of shopping that you can find armor and weaponry and etc. Again, it's a metropolis, but there is one that stands out to you, and it might just be pure coincidence. It's a little bit cheesy, but you see it and you kind of go, okay. And there is two massive axes crossed over each other, both single-bladed, not woodcutter axes, but battle axes, crossed over each other above one of the shops selling armour and weaponry and such. It has no name. Many of them just don't seem to name their shops. You can see what they're there for, they don't care. Entering the shop, there is a dwarf there. Their black hair is completely oiled back and tied in a ponytail, completely like super pulled, almost facelift pulled back. Their beard is same. There's no wispy, wiry bits. It is all slick and oil and down and super tied, real tight. So they've got an almost like stretched face. They don't follow the stereotypical stories of massive shoulders and short stature. They're quite narrow. They still hold an element of thickness in their limbs, just because generally the dwarves do tend to have thicker limbs. But they're not a massive dwarf. They have a purple, like a plum purple long jacket on that's crossed over. Walking into this shop, you notice that there is racks of armour, racks of weaponry everywhere. But there's no like forge or blacksmith. You can smell the grease and oil. You're used to when like folk in the tribes clean their weapons, or some of them that do wear metal armour for very specific reasons and very rarely. Keeping them clean and stuff, especially in such heats and conditions, is very important. But you can smell that sort of grease that they use and the oils they use to keep them battle ready and such. It's just overwhelming at the minute because you're in a shop full of it. The dwarf in front of you with this deep plum long jacket on, you notice that they've got jewellery on. The rings on their fingers are all different tiny gemstones, like sapphires and rubies and emeralds and amethyst and all this, but they're all decorated with like a purple carapace, like around the gemstones. They have a long silver chain around their neck, no amulets on it or anything, just a thick silver chain, and they're kind of just stood in the shop. And when you walk in, they stand near the counter that is taller than them. So you'd expect someone of quite taller stature to be stood at the counter, but they're stood on your side of it, and they just look at you when you walk in. Greetings, a customer. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm very well, very well. A moment, and then as you turn, there is a very, very small, like large beetle, like caterpillar-shaped beetle, with a powder purple, like what they call, what the sweet's called, Parma violets, coloured carapace shell. It kind of scuttles along the table, up his arm and onto his shoulder, and it just kind of sits there, similar to how Jeremiah does to Ruby. When I wrote this character, I did not think of Gilmore, but now I've seen it written, I'm getting sued. Okay.
And that's why, like, Mel and my face has been like,
I'm so sorry.
Oh dear.
it's fine. It's fine.
And you see it. You see the.
His name is Shmon Schmelmore.
Yeah.
He runs Schmelmore.
His name is Superb Steve.
Name. Good solid name. I would like it if I could see your selection of axes or battle axes, as well as any chain armor that you may have.
All the above. One hand, two hand, throwing. Which do you care for?
Any and all.
Let's get to work. And then just walks over, and you see then they start just waving their hands, and they start doing a clicking noise, and you see the armor and stuff shift. And when you look at the base, you can just see bugs, carapace bugs, sort of like they're quite large, like moving the stuff over and then disappearing back into the shadows of the shop, just moving everything into place. And they put several suits of armor out in front of you. There is plate armor, like completely full helm, pauldrons, chest piece. You have half plate, which is just like the breastplate and like the asymmetric side where the shoulder goes down one. There are a few shields behind them. There are racks with huge great axes on with two massive blades, single blades. There are battle axes that's similar to where you think Sapphire's from. There are those that have a more half moon blade to them rather than the sort of Nordic axe. There are several swords and such, but he keeps them out of the way. But you get the assistants of the shop are all these little carapace bugs moving everything around for you. and then they roll out the way or crawl out the way, and you are presented with several options. Chainmail suits are a thing, or chainmail shirts. There are chainmail thigh like skirts, the kilts, chainmail battle skirts. Any option of which? Any of these to your liking?
Andrea kind of casts her eye across a number of things. And she just looks back at the dwarf and go, would you mind terribly if I were to touch them, hold them, feel the weight in my hands?
You are the customer, do as you wish.
And then very methodically, Xandria is going to go through every single weapon, and she is going to basically hold it at hand. What essentially you're witnessing is it's pretty much Harry Potter in Ollivanders trying to find his wand. That is what Xandria is doing. She is methodically looking for a weapon that calls to her in the same way that the woodcut has slowly started, like, building up her presence. So both armor and weapon, basically.
Which do you do first?
We'll do weapon first.
You do exactly that. And said, superb Steve. Jesus, shoot me now. Brings each weapon to you. The great axe feels good, feels powerful, feels strong, feels mighty. It's you've seen folk in the tribes even recently when weapons of such a nature get swung, they hit hard once and then come back round eventually. Less of the finesse of your brother Kess and such. There are smaller weapons, these smaller axes, that you feel as if you could dance alongside of your brother wielding these axes and do as much damage as he does, but with many blows instead of the large swinging blow. There is a great woodcutter's axe, and you probably wouldn't use it for woodcutting because of the way the blade's shaped and the handle is. It is a weapon rather than a tool to cut down trees, but it is the closest shaped thing to what you've seen during your woodcutting dreams. They all feel available. They all feel right. And the more you touch and hold the figurine of yourself, you start noticing now that it is taking a different shape. It's almost in a real shitty moulded L shape at the minute. Kind of lost the features of yourself, and again, it feels like that one. It's almost like you're moulding this figurine. The hand axe is... What's your strength? 15? 14? 15?
Strength is 13.
13.
Yeah.
What's your dex?
14.
These blades would help you spin and cleave your way through your enemies, but if you are looking for heavier armour, maybe spinning and cleaving is not the way to go. I would suggest maybe one of the larger weapons. You are... And they don't touch you, but they kind of do that around you. You are... you are strong. It is your choice. The weapon... Don't let the weapon choose you. You choose the weapon.
Yes, the spinning and cleaving, I believe, is best left to my brother. I think I should stick with what I know the best.
There is a clicking noise, and some of the creatures come out and take away the two battle axes and just leave you with the double-bladed axe and the single-bladed axe.
By the way, if Ruby finds out about the little purple beetle friends, she's going to be so jealous and so annoyed that she didn't pester Xandria into going along with her, because little beetle friends.
Xandria kind of casts her eye between both battle axes, and eventually she just kind of holds the double-bladed one again, and then just kind of... this one. This is the one.
All clicking, right. And the single-bladed axe is rolled away. Then we shall put that aside. Now, to your armour, dear customer.
And once again, methodically touching and looking and lifting all of the armor.
So,
As somebody that doesn't really wear armor, it is a very foreign territory for Zandria.
yep. Give me 2 seconds.
I don't even remember what armor does what. That's how this goes.
Give me 2 seconds, I'll be right with you.
Your call is important to us.
So,
You've got a relatively decent deck, so you could like do a lighter armor and add a dex, or you could do a heavier armor.
I know I am kind of liking the
Kind
idea of
bit of
Zandria
both.
in fucking full play.
Oh,
armor.
that would be a powerful look. Ari's new fetish.
You? You've met Elba, right? You've met literally everyone on the wall, right?
Right. They begin to walk around you and they kind of look you up and down. And you notice now that there are these large purple carapace beetles sort of like lift your clothes with their little arms. Maybe not this. And clicks again and the beetles wheel away the plate armor, leaving you with the half plate and a couple of examples of chain, whether they be full or pieces of that you attach to leather and such. Let me see. Touch this one, as it seems to be your preferred choice.
Andrea.
And just pushes the half plate. The half plate gets like brought towards you by these little creatures. It's all over it. It's all over it. You put your hand towards it. And before your fingertips even take place, you feel yourself squeezed tight on the figurine. And you look down, and now the L-shaped, the long bit of the L, so it's like an upside down L, so you're holding it and it's like this. The long bit in your hand is similar shape to the haft of the woodcutter's axe that you saw. And then you place your hand on the half plate. There's an instant, like, smile, like when a young'un gets that thing they've been after for so long, whether it be a toy or a cookie or a trip somewhere. And you're an instant, this. Seeing the joy on your face. Would you like to try the chain, or are you happy with your first choice?
Oh, I think this might be the one.
You give one last squeeze to your figurine, and when you look down, again, all subconsciously while you've been doing this, now the top bit has been shaped into that of an axe blade, and you now hold in your hand a holy symbol of the woodcutter. Are you happy with its design, or do you care for it to be customised? Because we can do that.
I wouldn't even know where to begin in asking for a piece of armor to be customized, so perhaps it's best that it be left as is.
He steps forward and goes, You smell of summer, of the seasons. Keeps walking around you and starts tasting the air. You are of the woodlands, but not. I can smell heat, the sand. Would you allow me to customize it for you?
By all means.
Please, pick it up tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you putting this on Ruffworx's bill?
How did you know?
I am a dwarf in a city of humans. I need to know when customers are coming my way spending a lot of money.
And yes, I will be putting this on Lord Ruffworx's bill.
Noted. It will bring me great pleasure to bill him so. Starts clicking and clapping, and the bugs take the axe and the half plate away. May I customise the axe for free? as a gift to you for being such a wonderful customer.
Please do so.
I thank you. Anything else?
I believe that was all I required. Thank you very much for your service today.
On your way out, please flip the sign to closed. I have work to do. He starts rolling up the sleeves on the long jacket.
May I get your name before I leave, good sir?
Amit. Hang on. I'm going to pronounce this wrong.
The happiness in Luke's face.
I love this floor.
I do as well.
I just want.
Sorry, Amphisia.
Amphisia.
Amthesia. Amphisia.
I want a campaign that is literally just this dwarf.
But you get sued by Mercer.
And Gabriel just having a rip-roaring time through.
Oh, Gabriel shit the bed.
No, there's Nicola in there as well.
Oh god, yeah, no, that's Dream Team.
Who was the third?
Nikolai.
Oh, Nikolai. Fantonio. Okay.
Yeah.
Only
sorry,
I
I
actually call him
confused
his
you.
name.
I confused you by
you
actually
dropped
using his
Fantonio.
Yeah, I was like, who's this fucking Nikolai? You can't just make people up.
You drop Fantonio's name in that shop, you're either getting insta-barred for life, or everything is free.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for the raid, Spellbinding Games.
Upon getting the dwarf's name.
Hey, Octara.
Oh yeah, that is Octara. Hi, Octara. Upon getting the dwarf's name, Xandria just kind of does sort of like a half bow and goes, "It is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. My name is Xandria Summerbreeze. That's probably why you could smell the summer."
It is a familiar smell. It has been a long time since I've been in the presence of summer. It was a very welcome. It was very welcome.
Well, I will let you get to your work, and I will turn the sign for you.
Thank you, thank you. Starts clicking and clapping again, and just heads behind the massive counter and into the back, wherever that may be, with your half plate and great axe.
Sign turned, door closed, back to Ruffworx Castle.
So, as you've all been doing your shopping and etc., Ruby, what you will discover in your conversation with the cleric of this particular woodcutter temple that you're at, the wooden figurines have a few, depending on where you see them, where you'll find them, have a few meanings. If you are within the realm of the woodcutter in their personal woodyard, those that are given the choice to be resurrected, it is their choice to return. Those that choose not to return, those that choose to return, figurines are made of them, and they are placed upon a memorial of sorts. So those of the woodcutter will remember those that were blessed by the woodcutter and given life yet again, or chose to return. Those that do not return are the ones that make the figurines, and it is all a very light tradition in a realm that is a divine realm akin to that. As you start looking a little bit questioning of other realms, you can compare it quite easily to a fair realm, or the realm of echoes where you've just been and such. This is clearly another realm that this cleric is calling a divine realm in regards to the woodcutter, and it's obviously where that theme resides. Those that they're making now, whether they be what happens for those that choose the faith quite strongly, whether they be a cleric or a paladin, not just an acolyte or a priest, etc., of the cloth. They are creating their holy symbols. Those that choose the true path, so a paladin or a cleric, will make a figurine of themselves, whether they sit there with wood and knife, or are given it as a choice, or experience it in some other way. They will receive a figurine of themselves, and through their choice of path and through their faith, if they are truly set on that path and they have given themselves to the way of the woodcutter, the figurine will manifest into the holy symbol of the woodcutter, which is an axe, a woodcutter's axe, and that will become the holy symbol of the paladin or cleric. That is the final, not promise, but the final step, final prayer, final nod to say, I take your tenants as my own for the foreseeable future. And it's so basically it's their holy symbols, and it's their way of, it's their thing, it's their physical thing that allows them to worship their particular faith in the woodcutter. And that's what you discover over your conversation. You all make it back to the Sovereign District. You're letting through the large gates at the huge wall. You make your way up to... There is a comment of no horse today, Lady Summerbreeze. And you make your way back to the enormous sovereign mansion at the top of the hill within the district. As you go in, it is just afternoon, so food is being prepared for those that are joining, which is the normal staff and just nobles that seem to live in the sovereign district. It seems to be almost... it's kind of an interesting view on it, because especially for all of you, you all have experienced the communal eating where, you know, there's a large fire, everyone sits around it, or a broth or whatever, or the desert, the Toman Highlands, the monastery, the barbarian days of old. It just seems to be a very swankier version of that. However, when you've all eaten, or you started eating, and you've passed information on what you've bought, like the portions and such like this, Xandria may or may not have passed the information on what she's been after, that's up to her, but you will obviously quite say, oh, we've got a portion for you and a portion for you, and you can exchange your portions and such how you see fit. You eat, you get ready. There are messengers that will come to yourselves about the Sovereign Rabe that is about to happen shortly after you've all eaten. There will be half an hour to an hour. It will be announced to rest, let your food settle before the council is called, and everyone who's not meant to be there is hauled ass out of the mansion. As it comes closer to that time, and the tables are reset, and they're placed in a huge makeshift circle, because they're very long tables, so you get that almost, hexagonal sort of edges, and you're all placed, and then in the middle there is a small brought-in stage where the speaker will stand on it and they can address everyone in a 360. Once they've addressed, they go back, and it's all explained to you. As people start bringing in, you realise that the Sovereign Rabbit is actually a very large council, like 100 people. And you can see them being brought in. There are many bearing symbology with their golden sashes and green sashes and blue sashes of all the major houses. So the Lilies, Tor, Forge, Eagles, etc. All sit and take. And they all sit, no one sits together in clumps, everyone's just sat everywhere. But there are also those that seem to be bearing different coloured sashes or multicoloured sashes, whether it be 2 colours or 3 colours, that represent houses that are not the major houses, not necessarily minor, but you have the major houses and then the other houses. That's literally how it's referred to. Ari, you may or may not recognise a few of them, like, you know, nobility is a thing in Ravenholm, and people claiming their house to be a proper house and have colours to wear on sashes and such. And everyone starts getting around. But then there are a few tables and chairs that have been left empty. There is a herald, or I say a herald, there is a person, I can't remember the name of it, but there is a person that introduces. And as they make their way through everyone, and Lord Romick is introduced, and Gareen is introduced, and Elva, the second Eagle of the Wall, is introduced, you yourselves get introduced. There is an element where you've been asked previously what your names are and such, and you are introduced as Lady Xandria Summerbreeze, Herald of Summer, and you are taken to a table that is set out for yourselves. Kesvion Summerbreeze, current Landlord of the Autumn Forest. My apologies, the Copper Forest, and you're led to your chair. Lord Aristotle Sebastian Rycroft, grandson of the great Silver Bladesman, and you are taken to your seat. Sapphire Waters, monk of the Vey dynasty, and there's a few people look across to the enormous tabaxi expecting an elf. There are tabaxi in Vey, but the common stereotype is elf. They recognise your clothing and such. They are all very aware that you are a 6'6" white lion who's just been announced as a monk of the place they know can hurt you with their elbows. And you are led. There is an element of awe. What you do notice is there are representatives of the House of Tor that are in there, that are a Minotaur or a Rhinotaur. There are those very large bestial humanoids that are common in the House of Tor. Sapphire and Ruby, you were never in Ebendorf or the House of Tor. So the thing that the House of Tor are very known for is they are the reason they're Tor is because of Minotaur. Their skill set is being able to create Minotaurs, Rhinotaurs, like the large stag-like deer heads. They're all very much a humanoid shape with the head and physicalities of a beast. You know, list them, they're probably there. But they're more the elite, and it's not very common, but when you see them, that it's almost a elevation in status in the House of Tor. But you see them, and they're similar to yourself, so Sapphire, in the sense that you're a very large lion, they're a very large bull, etc., etc. It's just, you see a lot of tabaxi, you don't see a lot of these. Ruby, you are introduced merely as Ruby, the one from the Highlands. You don't give yourself a elongated title or anything, and they kind of just go with the simplistic, oh, this is Ruby of Toa. And you are all sat down. Then a couple more are introduced. There is a quietness as you all shuffle, and then the room, bear in mind this is a ballroom site, it is a massive room. The entire area goes freezing cold. You can see the breath, your breath, like just appear as you're breathing, every one of you. May I introduce the first breath of winter? And the doors open to allow the next person in, where you've all like kind of queued from. And in walks someone about the size of Syrinscape and Cassian. They're not overbearingly tall, they're not short, they just have a presence about them. They have a waistcoat of white and blue. Their trousers are straight cut and gives them an almost butler-like stereotype look, but their fashion is white and blue trim. Their face is very, very perfect. Their chin is small and pointy. Their cheekbones are high. When I say perfect, I get in the eye of the beholder, but it's almost made perfect. Like there's no blemishes. There's no, from a crafter's perspective, it is perfect. Their face is cut, chiseled in a way that you would ice. Their eyes are piercingly blue, not glowing. Their hair is long and white and flows down and is held perfectly in place and comes in front and just hangs down in front of their chest. They nod to everyone and they are taken over to a seat. And they are sat not far from Garina. And they sit. Of Viconia and the Taker of Souls, we have the Soul Taker. And in walks a lioness with auburn and blonde fur, dressed what Sapphire knows to be the formal wear of someone who would lead a ceremony for the tribes. Her attire is that you would wear in a wintry place, but it is more decorative with coloured leathers wrapped into the twists on the shoulders where the clothing meets and where the seams are. There are small strips of coloured leather that drops down across her arms and such. She is quite, what's the word? She's bearing a lot of fur. I know that's a terrible description, but it's more of that's what you do. Sapphire's used to that, so like it's a presence thing. The leather and such is the jewellery, so it's less clothing and more jewellery that she's adorned herself with, because in Viconia the tribes, especially the Tabaxi tribes, are very proud on the patterns on their fur or lack of. That's their mantelpiece. She's obviously modestly covered, but generally I am a lioness, as it were. And she strides in. She makes no eye contact with you, Sapphire. She walks straight over to her seat and she takes the seat. Then another person is introduced. And I'm going to pronounce my own dwarf incorrectly. And here we have Amthesia of the Beneath, master of whatever they so wish. And you get that the caller kind of looks as they enter the room, and they nod in thanks to the caller. And you see, in a deep purple long jacket, kind of closed over, with the gemstone jewellery and the purple carapace, like decoration rings and the thick silver chain. On their shoulder is a quite large purple, like, I've forgotten the suite already, Parma violet coloured beetle, like large, almost woodlouse beetle, sat on their shoulder. On their other shoulder, covered up in where you'd hood a bird, you know, where you put the hoods over the birds, there's a very large bat meets eagle type shape. The wings are bat-like, but the shape is as if a large bird of prey on the other shoulder, but hooded right down to the taloned legs, claws. Yeah, sat on the other shoulder, very still, incredibly still. Whereas the purple woodlouse running around like a lunatic on the shoulder. They sit about 5 seats down from Soul Taker. Lord Romerick, that is all of the attendees for the Sovereign Rabbit. My thanks, Romerick calls back. The doors are closed. A large bell is bong. Romerick steps into the middle. And before we start the meeting, I'm going to call it there, because it's 11:05.
Well, shit.
All this drama going on, and as soon as it gets to any other business, Ruby's like, I need to meet the pets. Bring me the pets.
Bring me the pets.
So,
I'd like to see the baby.
we're going to do the Sovereign Rabbit next week. We'll see how this all cranks out. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the raid. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. That is the end of our session tonight. Tune in next Tuesday, which I believe is the 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the,
No.
30th. It's the 30th.
30th.
My bad.
30th, yeah.
the
Yeah.
second is something else.
The 2nd is something else. But yes, please tune in next week. Please, if you want to try and find out what's been going on, go check us out on YouTube. Join the Discord and such. 2022 is going to be mental. We're going to try and push it as much as we can. Thank you very much for watching, wherever you're watching it. Thank you so much. Shout about us, make us famous. But yeah, thank you to this lovely bunch of coconuts. I think Garblag are still playing, so if you are able to, we're going to raid them, because they're nice people and they deserve to be raided. So take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cheers, players. Love you all. For now, say goodbye, players.
Goodbye,
Bye,
players.